Alright, it's only me. I've just come on to talk quick tonight about Chris Squire's box set Fish Out of Water, which was made out of his album from 1975, the one and only Chris Squire solo album you can get. He did go and do things later on, like Chris Squire's Swiss Choir and a project called Conspiracy, along with a guy called Billy Sherwood that would eventually replace him in Yes. But I do these videos from time to time just talking about the box sets that I didn't get to unbox live. If you're watching on YouTube, please use the subtitles. I get a lot of comments on my videos saying that people can't understand what I'm talking about. But I'm from Ayrshire in Scotland, and that's the way we talk here, and I refuse to Billy Connolly up my Scottish accent just for the sake of people watching videos on YouTube. This is the way we talk here. If you're a Scouser or whatever and I come on and watch your video, then I don't expect you to be speaking the Kings. So anyway, just a bit of background to this album. I can't remember exactly when I got this album, way back in the mists of time, but my fondest memories of it have got to be when I got my first motor. I had a C90 cassette which had two solo albums for you guys out of Yes. It had John Anderson's Elias of Sun Hillow on one side and Chris Squire's Fish Out of Water on the other side. And when my daughters were wee, we would drive about the Highlands listening to these things constantly, and now when they hear that music they're like, oh Dad, that's the camping music. So I mean they quite enjoy a bit of John Anderson and Chris Squire as well. But famously, Yes as a band released the 5 individual solo albums around about 1975, after they had done the Real Air album. And each album by the members of the band are quite enjoyable, but definitely Chris Squire's Fish Out of Water and John Anderson's Elias is on it. I mean, it's hard to pick between the two of them which is the best work out the two of them. John Anderson is for a different universe. It's one of the most unique pieces of music that you'll ever hear in your life. Working as he did for about 4 months himself in a garage, and when you listen to it, you're like, what instruments is he playing here? It's just amazing, magical music, but you cannot put your finger on what he's playing. Chris Squire's album is a mere kind of symphonic affair, but interestingly, he makes the bass guitar the lead instrument on the album, and that's quite a hard thing to do, but I consider Chris Squire to be the greatest rock bass player of all time. I know there's a lot of people who will say, but Geddy Lee out of Rush and John Entwistle out of The Who, a few other guys. They were all great as well. I'm not saying that just because he was the greatest there wasn't anybody else that wasn't great. Just Chris Squire had just a gift for what he was doing. With the bass parts, he could make the bass just so interesting, and make it a part of the overall scheme of the music. Again, a melodic part, not just playing along with the drums and being in the rhythm section. Just you would be listening, and I always say that the guys that were in Yes, especially Chris Squire and Steve Howe, couldn't really exist in a band outside of what Yes were doing. I mean, their talents were just so mercurial and special. They were very, very good musicians. So we'll have a look at this. This album came out in 1975, and it's a bit forgotten about. It's like a bonus Yes album for the 70s. If you couldn't get enough 70s Yes, you should definitely delve into this if you haven't heard it. This is fantastic. I had it on CD for years, on the plain vanilla CD, and then it came out as a 2, I think it was a CD DVD, and the DVD is also included in this. So we'll have a look at what's inside this box set here. But made out a good old sturdy bit of cardboard. That looks nice, sitting on the shelf. I always peel the stickers off these things and stick them on the front. That's why it looks a bit dog-eared, because it's always hard to get the sticker off. But there it tells you on the back everything, so I'll go through that in a minute. I might have to put my all specs on for that. I'm getting a bit old now. As you notice, I know I've got a black eye for where the one and only Rob Crawford scalped me on Friday night with his famous microphone swinging. But I'll take one to give one. I've scalped him a few times with my bass guitar. That's the way it goes, combat conditions. But that was like getting hot with a golf club. It was a dullion. A dullion is a Scottish word for something that's really hard. Anyway, inside this you've got this cracking book here, which explains the story, how Chris Squire come to make the album. Working with a gentleman that I think he'd been at school with, called Andrew Price Jackman, who would go on to become some kind of choir master. Or was, I can't remember exactly, I'll probably tell you in the book. But it was like one of the big cathedrals in London. Aye, St Paul's Cathedral, there you go. Westminster Abbey. I mean, these were guys that were obviously well connected with their music. But the whole thing written by Chris Squire, arranged by Chris Squire and produced by Chris Squire. I mean, the years must have been longer in the 70s, because when you think of the music that Yes were churning out at the time, they had just done, what, 7 albums? The first Yes album, Time in a Word, the Yes album, Fragile, Close to the Edge, Tales for Topographic Oceans, and Relayer. And like the last 3 of them I mentioned there, some of the wildest progressive rock music you'll ever hear in your life, with some amazing bass playing on there by Chris Squire. But I mean, absolutely fantastic. A nice essay in there by Sid Smith, who is the guy that does all the King Crimson stuff as well. Wrote a cracking King Crimson book. This was remixed. This came out in 2018. It was remixed by Jacko Jaksic, who was in Level 42, I think, but latterly went on to be playing the guitar in King Crimson. I think he also did the remix of Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Brain Salad Surgery, if memory serves. That's Who Does It When You Can't Get Hold of the Stephen Wilson boy who does these things. But there we go, there gives you a list of everything that's on there. The new stereo mix, the original mix. There was nothing wrong with the original mix, actually. Also in there you get Run with the Fox, which is the 1981 Christmas song, which was only credited to Chris Squire and Alan White, because Yes were kind of on a hiatus at the time. That's an absolutely fantastic song. My favourite Christmas song, no doubt about it, although it has got some lyrics about Christmas and it's got some Christmassy, but I mean it's quite rocky and pretty good. Also the DVD on here has got a 5:1 surround mix of the album, and it's got all the visual content that was on the DVD I was talking about earlier that come with the CD DVD, which is pretty good because it's got like an hour-long interview with Chris Squire talking all about the making of the album, and it's also got an audio commentary where Chris Squire's actually sitting listening to the album and he tells you all about what's happening in there. There's some pretty good guest stars on here. Bill Bruford comes back, working with Chris Squire again for the first time since Close to the Edge, playing the drums. Bill Bruford's eye was fantastic on the drums. Mel Collins for King Crimson et al. Played with everybody, just about. And you think Roger Waters the lot. If you need some wild saxophone, you would phone in Mel Collins. Patrick Moraz, who was playing the keyboards with Yes at the time, also does a wee bit of guesting on there. But I mean, famously, there's no guitar on this album. It's all orchestration. And most of the lead parts are played with the bass guitar. So I mean, if you like your bass guitar, you need to check this out if you haven't heard it. There's 5 tracks on there. Probably the most famous one's the first one, Hold Out Your Hand, which if you can sit there, these guys were just such clever musicians. If you sit there and try and count out exactly what the time signatures are in all these songs, it's quite amazing. Hold Out Your Hand segues into You By My Side, which is a kind of ballady style song, but never gets weedy, if you understand the kind of word. Silently Fallen, which kind of epic mental track, which has got a really mad instrumental break in the middle there. Lucky 7, which is a kind of slower. It's hard to describe what these songs are. I mean, the music's just magic. It's amazing. It's music you don't get for anywhere else. When the punk thing came in, it kind of killed all this kind of large scale music that these guys all did. And then you get to the kind of safer rock music of the 1980s, but you never go in and like as ambitious as this ever again. And then Safe Cannon Song, which is another kind of slow, big built up song. Definitely pushing towards the end of the album, gone out in a grand kind of theme. And it's got this cracking bit in the middle where it all breaks down and the bass plays this repetitive figure, and you get to like just about every instrument in the orchestra plays this figure one at a time over the top of it. It's absolutely amazing. And then at the end the Hale Orchestra comes in. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, if you haven't heard this, you need to definitely track at least the album down there. I don't know if you'll be able to come by the box set now. And then you've got all the song lyrics in here. Amazing. And then like we usually get with these big box sets, just stuff that'll appeal to fans. There you've got the studio sheets there, tells you everything the producer would have wrote down about what's on the master board there and what's on the multi-tracks. More of that stuff there. All of this stuff. There's one talking about Run With The Fox for 1981. And then here you've got some stuff which is press cuttings for the time. Album reviews, just like adverts for the album, and a soundtrack album for Judgment Day. This is one of the quotes here. One of the most powerful pieces of music ever committed to vinyl, which might sound pretentious, but I absolutely agree. And there you've got the single covers and the record labels there. Fantastic stuff. There's a picture there, dedicated memory of Chris Squire, 4th of March 1948. Of course, he would have been 78 the day Chris Squire, to the 27th of June 2015. Pretty tragic that happened, because I remember, I think yes, we're gearing up today the live tour for Drama, which was the first time they would have played that stuff for like 25 years, but he never made it, and they had to go and do it with Billy Sherwood playing the bass, which is documented on the double CD Topographic Drama, I think it's called, which is the Hale album played front to back. And there you go, that's the inside there, which was the inner gatefold sleeve. It's a kind of weird mirrored picture. I think it's taken out on the front bumper of a motor, reflective of Chris Squire sitting there playing the guitar on what looks like a kind of low sun winter time thing. And then the last thing in here, we have a reproduction of the LP for 1975. Again, with all the stuff on there. Nice thick vinyl on this. This is proper vinyl that you used to get. No the flimsy. You can't bend that. That's proper good vinyl, don't. And then also in here, which I put in the LP sleeve just to keep it safe, is a reproduction of the Lucky 7 single, which is an edit of the song Lucky 7. Also on the B-side, I think it's an edit of Silently Fallen. I don't think it would have fit the Hale song on the B-side of a single. And also Chris Squire's and Alan White's Run with the Fox, which has got the lyrics on the back there. That would have been for 1981. One of the Christmas songs that they never seem to play, Ken, when you go in a supermarket, it's always the same ones you hear. John Lennon, all that kind of stuff. Oh, and it's got a poster on it. Of the stained glass window, which I think was it. What was Chris Squire's house called at that time? Virginia Waters or something. But anyway, that was just me coming on talking rubbish, as I usually do, sharing my memories of these great albums. If you haven't checked out Chris Squire's Fish Out of Water, you should definitely remedy that today. I would put Chris Squire at the top, John Wetton just behind him. Two totally different bass players. John Wetton in his day, before he started with Asia, absolute monster. If you listen to his stuff with King Crimson or UK, some of the most mental bass playing, I can't even mention John Wetton, but some of the most mental bass playing you'll hear for the 70s. Also in this it says that the DVD was authored by a guy called Ray Shulman. I wonder if it was Ray Shulman out of Gentle Giant. Just when we're talking about wacky bass players for the 70s, Ray Shulman should also be mentioned in there as well. What a great prog rock bass player he was as well. But anyway, I better go, so I'll go put my dinner on, and plus I'll get heat here. My missus probably sitting wondering who the hell I'm talking to. But I'm out of here. Have a nice night, and check out a bit of Chris Squire's Fish Out of Water, or if you can't do that, at least put a bit of Yes on. Right, I'm out of here. See you later. Bye.